Hey YouTube, and thanks for watching Junkworks Garage. Well, we are in front of the LG washer dryer combo ventless system here, and I will say we still like this unit. Couple things though, we have actually, in the time we've owned it now, gone through a couple of pumps on this one. I've mentioned this in other videos. I don't know about the pumps actually. I might not have talked about the pumps yet because that's been, we replaced the first one fairly before a year was even up, and that was under warranty. Then about a year or two later, the second one ended up going out, or the first one we replaced went out again, and they decided we didn't have a warranty where we bought it from. I might do a separate video on that, but not in this video. But regardless, I'm not very happy about that. But they said, okay, well, we'll go ahead and replace it because we see that you have 8 or 9 other appliances that we bought at this place that all have warranties, but for some reason this one doesn't. So, anyway, yet again, it's in another story. Regardless, so we've gone through a couple pumps, and now we are having a problem with it not wanting to dry. Now I'm not sure what kind of system this has, whether I'm hoping we're going to open the top of this thing up and it'll be a fairly simple video, but not sure. Alright, and we've had this sitting here next to this. I need to put it underneath this, but right now I'm noticing water right here. Now, we did notice when this started happening that it did have a little bit of a water leak under it, but then we drained that. She said she had actually taken longer than she normally does. And didn't have a problem, but now I'm seeing a little bit of wetness underneath this, so good chance we have a leak of some sort somewhere, or the pump. Alright, so now we're in the back of the machine here. There's a screw there and a screw there, both of them Phillips, so we're going to go ahead and yank those off. And then I think this whole thing pulls back, which it does. And then your top comes off. Okay. Alright, so we've opened up the top of the machine, and right there's your heating element, I believe, underneath here. Then you got your blower fan, which blows the heat. And down here, this shoots down, and it's a tube that basically ends up pulling lint into it and blowing it through here. So the first thing we're going to do is actually just open all this stuff up and see how much lint is trapped in here and see if we can see down that tube. Okay, I made a big mistake. This can actually kill you. First thing you want to do is unplug it. Very first thing. Turn off the water and unplug it. But there are probably capacitors in here. I can see at least one, and a couple over here that will carry electricity even when it's unplugged. So you want to be careful what you're touching in here if you can. Alright, so now I got you over the top of the machine. Hopefully you can see everything. We have a plug in here, which I'm just going to go ahead and unplug right now, and I'm pretty sure you squeeze in on these and pull out. Yep. Let's see if this will even come out, which it doesn't appear like it will. So that's just the fan motor. I'm going to go ahead and put that back together. so now we got this kind of coming off, but I cannot get it out beyond this. So I'm going to go ahead and try and carefully pop this off and hope we don't make a mess. And we should be able to pull this out. And not great, but it's not as bad as I was actually hoping for. I'll clean all this up though. Alright, so I'm hoping this will pop off now. There we go. And that looks good. I was honestly worried about this being completely clogged up. Now, a couple things now. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and take this out and clean it up, right? And that is something that I don't know if it's in a manual or not, because quite honestly I haven't read all the way through the manual, but this is probably something that should be done, you know, every year or so, regardless. So I'm going to start doing this more often. But the other thing is, I've seen other videos and things where the lint has started on fire in here, and this looks really good through here. I see a little bit down there that I might tinker with a little bit. Alright, so I got these brushes right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and stick the big one going through there. So now we did that, we're going to take a look at this, and I don't see any problems with it where there's a break or anything like that. All the wires seem to be where they should be, but right here you got a temperature sensor type thing that I'm going to clean up. In fact, I got a baby wipe that's really dry because it got left open. I'm going to clean that up. Be careful, it's a sensor. Could be I'm doing this absolutely wrong. I don't know how to clean it up legitimately, we'll say. But I think a dry baby wipe probably is fairly decent idea. Yet again, if you do anything I do and you mess up your equipment, I am not responsible. If you don't like the way I'm doing something, don't do it. Right. So, I've looked at this, it looks okay. All the wires to it seem like they're okay. But this sensor right here could be bad, could be the problem. I don't know how expensive it is to replace, but I've replaced these in the past on other dryer elements, and they were only, you know, $4 or $5, if even that. Nowadays they're probably 40 or 50 bucks. But regardless, that could be your problem if we do all this and it doesn't work. That's probably my next step. Alright, so looks like we got 4 screws right here. We'll pop those out. On the circular one. Those down here. The funny thing is it appears you gotta kind of bend it to get it out, because it's got ears up here and ears down here. So you gotta bend it a little bit to pop it out. Alright, and this is definitely different than other ones I have seen, unfortunately. There we go, and there you go. I don't know if you can see that, but a big nasty ball right there, as I'm sure that, like I said, this wasn't all that tight, so this has been jammed in here, allowing the water to kind of build up, and I think it's been probably making it past this and leaking a little bit out. But I'll pretty much guarantee if you're having a problem, this very well could be it. So we're back up top here, and I'm thinking I'm gonna have to pull this whole thing out of here. So to get this out, first of all, I'm going to take this heater element off. Be very careful. These can actually be kind of delicate. because they go through heat cycles and get brittle. This is very similar to what you'd have like in your oven almost, more than most dryers have smaller elements. That'll allow me to clean this out a little bit better too. So it looks like there's just 2 screws here, which kind of boggles me a little bit. I'm going to unplug these as well. Make sure you get everything plugged back in where it goes. You got blue on this side and gray on this side. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we get everything unhooked from here we can. There's also a sensor down on this plastic tub down here, which very well could be part of it too. The sensor could be blocked up with stuff and not sensing things. All kinds of reasons this might not be working, and by cleaning this all out, hopefully that'll fix all of them or whatever it is. The 2 black screws go here, so pay attention to where your screws go. There's definitely a lot of different screws that hold different parts together, and I don't know if that... Alright, well, that definitely undid the back, but somehow this front has to unhook. It needs to unhook. I think this appears like it will just pull out of here. There's that. Careful. That was a little bit more rough than I wanted. So there's that sensor there. Alright, I don't know if you want to see this, but there's the rubber piece here, the metal piece that's hooked to this going down into here. There's some more plastic inside, and then this goes to the rubber boot. And I'm going to, it appears anyway, like if I can get behind here, I might be able to pull this straight up, but I really can't tell. So I just had to kind of, in here there's a metal piece that has to pry out a little bit, and if you pry it enough, kind of bend it a little bit, not too much, that kind of releases on that, I hope. So I think that's fairly loose, but it's also got 2 prongs going into the front of the machine here, into some little grommet things that just need to pull this way. So I'm going to get all this junk out of the way, and then we're going to pull this way on it. Maybe. There we go. Putting it back in, on the other hand, might be a lot more difficult. So there's a lip right here that goes right around this right here. Right. And there's what it went inside of. And right here, you can see this band right here. Now if I pull that out, you can see right here is a lip that was underneath. So I had to kind of pry back on that and pop this lip over, pop it over the lip like that, and that loosened it up. Now it's time to try and get that out of there. And I'm going to start by unscrewing, there's 2 screws, one here and one here. I think I showed that before. And you can tell that it's part of this plastic thing because it's sticking out right here and here. It's got 2 nubs. Now I think I should be able to pull this up, pop it out of those holes, and start lifting up on this. But let's see here. Okay, this goes onto here. I've already unhooked that, but there's also two sensors here I'm going to have to unhook before we get too much further. So when I lift that up, you got a sensor right here, and there's another one right there at the end of this hose right there. So I got to pop those out if I can. Actually, this one looks like they're both attached together. So once I take this one off, I'm hoping I should be able to pull it up a little bit more and maybe get the other one off. We'll see. So first of all, This sensor is just covered with stuff here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull out. I don't know if this is going to be like that other one where I just pull it out. I don't see any screws holding it in, so I think, yep, they just pop out. I'm hoping I have to use this. I'm going to go ahead and reach down here and pop this one out as well. There's those sensors right there. I'll stick those to the side. I'll clean those up really good before we put them back in. This top one especially is just really bad. And then it's a matter of dangling things here. This part doesn't want to go through there very well. It'll probably be yet again easier or harder to get back in. Now we can undo this clamp and clean it out. And you can probably see somewhat down in there. I'm going to take this into my shower that I have down here and rinse it out. In the midst of actually taking the hose off of here, I realized this actually also pops out as well. Which it's not too bad, but there's definitely some stuff down in here. There's a grommet as well. That'll just help me clean this out a little better. Right. So I pulled this off, and as I did that, this is definitely something, if you got one of these, you're going to have to do more often than I've done it. And we've actually figured it out. We've had this for about 3 years, is kind of what we're thinking. Right. So now I'm going to put this thing in there. The grommet has to go up under here first. There's like a little bit of a lip right here and here. And then this goes in. And that also probably supposed to twist like that or like that up under the lip. Next thing we got the sensors here, which I took a baby wipe and just kind of wiped them up. Let's see here. The top one goes up in here. I think this might be a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be because this little grommet thing is definitely going to have to be kind of pulled up and around. So I've been fighting with this a little bit here, and I realized this, if you pull this out of here and push up on this metal thing here, that comes out of there and you end up with a grommet. That grommet will push easier down in here this way, hopefully. Wow, unless you fling it across the room and under something. So I'm going to go find that. We got this one as well. We got to pull out of here. And this one goes up in here. This one might be a little easier because I'll be able to kind of manipulate it from the top or from the inside, but that bottom one's going to be a lot more difficult. Alright, so I got that one in. I might have to turn this based on how that goes in there. I got to go find this one. It's going to be basically the same thing, just screwdriver, carefully not jabbing through and hooking it in there. So we got these in here fairly uneventfully. You put these in. This is going to be in here like that, so this is going to go that way. So I turn this where it needs to be, and we'll shove that in there. Okay, and this one goes down in here, and I'm hoping they won't get in the way to where we can't put this thing down in there, but right now we're we're going to try it and see what happens. I'm going to actually pull this out. Grommet came out too, and hook the hose on here. So I got the hose in there. So here's where I'm going to show you a mistake I made. I tried to put this down in there without putting this on, thinking I could put it on down there, which you still may be able to do, but it was getting more difficult than I wanted to deal with, so I pulled it back out. It's not that hard to do. I'm going to put this on. Now, this sets like this in there, so I need to make sure that this is pretty close to facing this direction so that it will line up with the where this goes in at. So this is going to be probably a little harder to get down in there, but we'll make it. Alright, so we got that down in there. Definitely a little harder than it was without the boot for sure. So now we're going to get these in again here. Get it again by hand so we don't strip the plastic. And we're just hooking this back up on here like it was before. I'm going to go ahead and give myself a little bit more leeway here. Regardless, it's time to put this in, and right here and here there's two nipples that go into the front of the machine, right there and right there, and this is where it goes, where this piece goes down into there. So hopefully you can kind of see what's going on. I need to simultaneously kind of get this down in there and get the piece down into the machine as well. Oh, careful with this. Need about 15 hands and 6 eyeballs to get this done, but we're going to get there. One in, but this one does not want to go in. I'm going to unplug these solenoids back here for now, and hopefully that gives me a little bit more room to be able to get this down in there, which it did. There we go. The hard part is getting this rubber piece on here. Be real careful with the screwdriver. I do a little bit of poking and prodding. So that was probably quite difficult to see, but now there's just that metal thing I showed you earlier that I'm prying in on with my screwdriver here. Right. So we got that in. Now we're going to deal with this one. There's just the tube that we put down in there needs to fit around this. Let's see here. There we go. Just got to kind of manipulate that to go around that, and then put our screws back in. I'm going to go ahead and plug these back in, which I did bend these a little bit. And again, there's a replacement parts. If you're having problems with your water draining also, you may look into these solenoids here. I think that's what they're called. That's what I would call them, as a type of solenoid. Anyway, so sometimes those seem to have a lot to do with where the water's flowing, so these will go bad and you can have problems. We're going to go ahead and replace this now. Oh, I thought that screw was attached. Turns out it wasn't. Alright, so this slides down into here. We're tightening this up here. Go in reverse and make sure you're getting it in there. Oh, and then we got this right here again, which it's like the ones that were in that tube. We're gonna pull out the metal part here. And then we're gonna jam that down in there. And again, carefully with the screwdriver. Best we can. Let's see. This is probably gonna. Let's see. Then I'm gonna plug this one in here. That one into there. Let's see. This is gonna go just like that, which means this needs to turn sideways, and we'll plug that down in there. And then when we put the cover on, don't forget these wire ties here, that they all need to go in their respective areas here. So then we're going to put this on here where it goes. It's got little nipples that go into corresponding holes as well, so you hopefully don't get that one wrong. Then we're going to make sure all our wire tie things here are kind of where they're going to be. And I'm just going to do all these first just by hand. We got our fan set up here. I don't know where that stopped at, but I put the top on and the fan in, put the screws back, made sure I had everything plugged back in, the hoses, the wires, everything plugged back in where it needs to go. I don't think you guys need to see me do the reverse everything. I really don't. Once you've pulled things apart, if you can't remember how to put them back together, first of all, separate your screws, take pictures of everything, take a video. Video really helps me figure out, oh, okay, I forgot I need to do this or that sometimes, so I'll look back at my videos in the middle of things. So, but regardless, hopefully this works for me. By the end of this video, you will see. Alright, well YouTube, as you can see, it's running, it's doing its thing. We haven't had any problems. It's been a couple days now, and it's been through several washing cycles. No leakage. It's drying better than it has in a long time. Everything's coming out good. So that was definitely the problem with this one at this point in time. Now, I've had a lot of questions about these machines because I have 3 of them in my family that we bought, so we do like them, but it's going to be a little while before I come out with that video because it's going to take me a while to try and figure out how to put everything, because we've had kind of a love-hate relationship with them as well. I will say, if you own one of these, you will have a leak somewhere at some point. The dog's hitting that, so hopefully it's not moving you too much. But anyhow, I will say you definitely will have a leak at some point, and at the very least, each time you go to empty out that down at the bottom down there, you will get some moisture that you're going to have to clean up. So if you have it in a basement, it's great, but if you have it in an upper finished floor and you're worried about the ceiling, your downstairs ceiling getting wet and things like that, you're definitely going to want to have this in a wet room, so to speak, that a little bit of wetness can happen and you don't have to worry about it leaking through the floor or into the rug or whatever's underneath it, because you will have some water, and more than likely at some point you will have a major water leak. Just you know, in like this one where it got clogged up a little bit and it starts leaking a little bit. Just how these machines seem to be. Every single one of them that we own, we've had between a major disaster, yet again I will talk about this in the other video, but it is going to be a while, but we've had from a major disaster to where they had to replace the whole machine to minor stuff like this. So yet again I will go over those and try and answer some of the questions for these, but for right now I figured if you have one of these and it's not drying, this is probably what you need to do to fix it. Thanks for watching Junk Works Garage, where I'm proud to say I'm a jack of all and a master of none. You all have a good one. And we're in the back of the machine here. I get a lot of questions on this, so I might as well throw it in this video too. They want to see me hook up the lines. Pretend this is not on here. Oh, all hooked in. Pretend this is not on here. All hooked in. So